As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's this day in history.
Well, as we count down to America's 250th birthday this summer, we're celebrating our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country to what it is today in the broadcast world. Charlie?
Yeah, we have a broadcast one today and one that's close to home. It's that show that follows ours. The Today Show on this day, January 14th, 1952, the first episode of NBC's The Today Show hit the airwaves. One of the news anchors who helped launch the morning newscast was from Baraboo. Jim Fleming graduated from Baraboo High School in 1933. He studied journalism at the University of Chicago and worked as a reporter during World War II. After the war, Fleming helped launch the Today Show. His job was to deliver news briefs throughout the 2-hour show. The Today anchor at the time was Dave Garroway. Fleming eventually left Today to work on documentaries, but after a year on the Today Show, he left. His impact to television news stretched, though, much longer. During his career, Fleming worked with famed journalists like Barbara Walters, Andy Rooney, and Ed Murrow. That's this day in history for January 14th. You can watch the Today Show in what, a little less than an hour.
Right here on Channel 15.
Right here, different anchors, though.
Fun fact, in elementary school, I dressed up as Barbara Walters for Halloween.
You did?
That's when I knew.
How did it go for you?
Not many people got it, but, you know, I had my little mic.
You knew what it was.
Walking around.
Yeah.
And here we are. Love the Today Show. Charlie, thanks.